Good afternoon and welcome to Sports Corners. I'm your host, Curtis Killings. Here with me I have Chastity Brigman, and also with us we have
Andre Miller.
On today's show, we have covered news and insights updates on the National Basketball Association. We have the Division I NCAA men's basketball and the National Football League. And also adding on today's segment, we have professional boxing and a special edited edition of Sports Corners, amazing top 10 highlights around the nations on our co-host Chastity Britman. She has the latest news coming into our first take inside the NBA, and Andre and myself, we will cover the scores and the standings on each team's last performance. Take a listen to Sports Corners. Chastity in the Western Conference.
In the Western Conference, the LA Clippers are 48-21, coming off an 11-game winning streak. Last week, the San Antonio Spurs are on their 10th straight win, in which they have upheld the winning streak. Following the OKC Thunder, who hold now the second-best record in the West. What team do you guys feel will be ready in the West come the first playoff round?
Well, that's a very good question coming on, that at where the season is at, coming into this first round, because
Okay, as we can see, the East doesn't have much competition. As you know, the West, but Miami Heat and the Indiana Pacers are the top teams, winning with less than 20 losses, and everybody else with more than 30 losses, with only the Raptors who are hanging in there with 28 losses. Then there's the West with the top teams like number 1 San Antonio Spurs, which is a tremendous team with Duncan and leading the series into the playoffs with a future receiving another ring. We also have in the West OKC, which Kevin Durant with the latest beating the Bulls 97-55 Monday. Even those Los Angeles Clippers lost Monday against Denver Nuggets, they still have a chance in being competition in the late playoff series. And also the Houston Rockets, which blew out the Utah Jazz 86-124 and showed their will and challenges to be a top team, especially after the win over the Heat a few weeks ago.
The Heat, who has clinched a playoff berth at 46-19, with LeBron scoring 43 points to help power the Heat past the Cavs. Following a Pacers record now at 50-17, handling the 76ers is 21st straight loss, and the Toronto Raptors leading the Atlantic Division at 37-29. Which team, gentlemen, do you feel is giving a better lead heading into the playoffs?
Well, coming off of Monday's wins against the 76ers, 99-90. I think the Pacers there right now, they're at the highest peak right now, coming onto the east side into their season. Particularly because I see them as if they're very focused. Coming off, the last win. I heard Lance Stevenson say himself that that his team was very focused. And the comments that he left behind with his team is saying that they need to face every opponent as if when they face the OKCs and the Miami Heats, because that's those are teams that's the highest opponents, and that's going to give them the biggest run for their money during the time. Right now they're holding a good pedestal right now. As you said, Chastity, they're 50-17. They're leading a good record. And, just looking forward to this team, continue on. I know it's still kind of like third quarter into the season, but, those guys, they're holding on, and they're trying to, keep that competition going on to the east side. But, who do you feel is the top competitor right now going into the east?
I say San Antonio Spurs.
On the east side, on the east.
On the east side,
yeah. I know Greg Popovich, they doing such a good job over there. It's kind of throwing y'all, but right now in the Eastern Conference, who you feel as if, besides the Miami Heat,
Heat and Clippers.
Miami
Heat and Clippers, and just like I say, the Raptors, they the only one who will be next, but everybody else with well over 30 losses. So I say the West, they have a lot of more competition than the East.
Exactly, and another thing that I heard you recommend back onto that I want to nail back onto was that the Spurs, they really they've came back, and they've actually came back for the record over the OKC Thunder, because without them suffering a lot of spring slump times, they're older age, so they get a lot of injuries and stuff. It seems like they're immune to the age of injury, and apparently it's untouchable. No matter where on the court and who they face, regardless of when Miami Heat, they came not too long ago last week, and they played in San Antonio, and they took a you know, they got annihilated pretty much by the San Antonio Spurs, and they just doing a good job. You know, they overcame the Heat 87 to 111. But, you know, not to get into the numbers because this team, you know, has been unstoppable through its last victories. Like last night they won versus the Utah Jazz. That's another team, you know, that the Clippers as well as the Spurs have blew through. And, you know, they shots been 62.8% with seven different players as well in double figure scoring. But, you know, just leading on to the West Side, you know, those some good facts that you pointed out as for with the Clippers and with the San Antonio Spurs, and just as well on the East Side, you know, the Miami Heat and the Pacers, you know, those guys, they're holding it down on this end. But it's a lot of other news that's been going on. Like, what's so shallow news? You know, it's kind of yin and yang because it's some good things going on in New York, but at the same time, it's some bad things. And like, Chelsea, just going to where we at right now as in New York.
Well, on his first day on the job, Knicks president Phil Jackson said he looks forward to delivering a winning season to New York. Gentlemen, do you guys believe that the 13th champion and coach can deliver back his team into the winning days?
Well, I believe that Phil, he can do some good things with this team because, you know, Phil, obviously, as most of us know, he's very gifted. He's fantastic at, you know, managing egos and the personalities of everyone from the teams into, you know, to players and just pretty much maxing out whatever potential is out there and like what's a common and ultimate goal. And, you know, Coach Jackson, you know, he has that course of tremendous success of coaching the Bulls, of, you know, coaching the great names of Michael Jordan. You know, he helped them to like two different separate eras of titles, you know, 6 national championship titles. But, you know, what I think the question is still out there is, is the success going to be able to be just from the office? And, you know, with him moving from the pole pedestal of him being the coach, but is he gonna be able to be in the office? And it's been executive doesn't mean that it can get there, but as far as the pieces on the court, you know, Jackson may not, you know, he might not have that much work to do with, you know, as an immediate term, but certainly until at least the 2015 season, you know, that the Knicks, they're going to face some pretty daunting salary cap issues thanks to, you know, the expensive contracts with, you know, Tyson Chandler, Amari Stoudemire, and other, you know, the other guys who's in the team lineup, you know, but most of that is likely just to change much to next year with the possible exception of also losing, you know, Carmelo Anthony because he also as well is a part of the free agency list, you know, going on. But, you know, how do you feel like Phil Jackson will impact, you know, the New York Knicks being an executive inside the office?
Okay, as we know, Phil Jackson has officially signed as New York Knicks president, and as we can see with the 13-time NBA champion now running things in Madison Square Gardens, there should be major impact on the Knicks, which they've been struggling for the past years. And I don't blame the players. I don't even believe it was the players' fault of the past season, but I look at the people in charge of the game being played in New York organization. You have an all-star team, or should I say you have some all-star players, but can't seem to put the pieces together to get a ring. And as Phil Jackson stated, I believe in a system basketball, and I came out of the system here, and he believed that's something he can accomplish here. And as rumors may have spread on whether Carmelo Anthony is going to go to the free agent or is he going to stay since Phil Jackson is president, and most likely Carmelo Anthony is going to leave, but there were words from Phil Jackson saying he would like to have Melo to stay and be a part of the team. So I believe if Phil Jackson give Carmelo the right words and a correct map out, plan on going to a championship, as we know Phil Jackson can do, then I do believe we have a chance of Carmelo staying. But we would never know until it officially stated by Carmelo Anthony.
Well, it seems like we got a lot of stories, you know, that's going to be headline, you know, onto the NBA. But, you know, other stories that's been going on is like, you know, we're dwelling down to the March Madness of the NCAA men's college basketball. And speaking of stories, you know, it seems like everyone loves a good celebratory story that's in March, you know, as far as the glass slipper fits and like based on the big module of the powerhouse that can prove that, you know, that the big boys that's on the basketball's big stage. And like we want to cast our own questions, you know, we're gonna have Chassis you know, cast these questions and like onto our sports corners bracket, onto who do we feel is gonna remain in the March Madness tournament. First, what's the first question you have for us?
Okay, so which is the most difficult region? We have South Florida, Kansas, Syracuse, UCLA, We have West Arizona, Wisconsin, Creighton, SDSU, East Virginia, Villanova, Iowa State, Michigan State. Midwest, Wichita State, Michigan, Duke, Louisville. Who do you guys think?
Well, those some good brackets, because right now we separating all between, the South Division, the West Division, and the East. And also is the Midwest, which is highly voted as up until 55% within the AP polls that they vote for who you think is going to win, like in the college. But me personally, I think it's going to be the South Division, who you pointed out, which is has a team of the University of Florida, which is led by Billy Donovan. They have the Kansas State Jayhawks. They have Andrew Wiggins. He's one of the top recruits coming out of this season, and as well as Syracuse. They was kind of edgy early, but those guys, they still remain a big name, and also UCLA. So my pick, who I'm going with, or who I feel has the most difficult region, is the South Division of Florida. How about yourself?
South Florida, South Regional.
The South Regional Conference,
Yeah.
And we had another question going on to this March Madness. Being that it's a lot of difficult. What was the next question that we had?
Which team will win the South Regional? You got Florida, you got Kansas, you got Syracuse, and you got UCLA.
Who you think gonna win?
I'm gonna go with Florida.
I say Florida and UCLA have a good chance, but I'm going with Florida.
In the South region? You going with Florida?
Who you going with?
That's tough, man. Like I said, you got Florida, you have Kansas, and we also have Syracuse. And we also have Syracuse. But
Syracuse and Florida have a good chance.
I'm a diehard Gator fan. Billy Donovan, he led, some of the guys who are in the NBA today, as Joakim Noah, Mike Miller, Udonis Haslem, a lot of those guys who went on to get championships. But Florida, they've been down there, actually twice down there, to 2 of those college titles, and they know how to get the win. They have a strong team, and I picked them, to win the South region. What's the last question that we had on this March Madness?
All right. Which team out of the 4 number 1 seeds will get the furthest?
Well, at a full strength, the Gators, they haven't lost a lot yet. Within as a result of injuries into the early season, personal issues, though, they still remain rock solid. And like within the 7-man rotation teams, they can't match, and that it doesn't really include the future first-round pick, Chris Walker, who became also eligible through this past experience. But the starting 4 teams, those guys who's been the main guys, who've keyed in. You have they've been there through three straight Elite 8 tournaments. The Gators, they don't have superstars in the lineup, but like Scotty Wilkenman, he was an SEC Player of the Year, and he leads also a balanced attack, which also helps the flow of that program. And as well as him, they have Casey Prather, Michael Frazee, those are good complementary scorers, and Patrick Young, he's also a threat down low. So this team, they're gonna win within defense, and it's one of the best defensive teams in the country. With this versatility, and the ability to rotate, and it's effectively, it helps the situation of them, proceeding along to just winning the whole Final Four. And I'm going with the Florida Gators, and you can quote me now, you can quote me later, write it down, take a picture, whatever you want to do. The Florida Gators is going to win the NCAA tournament this year. What else? How about yourself? Who you think?
Oh, I'm a Florida Gator. Florida Gators, they're 32-2, and they're number 1 in the 4th straight week after winning the SEC tournament title. Florida, which has won 26 games in a row with Scotty Wilbekin, who averaged 13 points and 3.8 assists for the Gators, was named AP's SEC Player of the Year, while Billy Donovan took the coaching award for the 2nd consecutive season after Florida completed a perfect run through the league. And
so that's just some pretty good choices. It seemed like we just matched up a lot of the information. We pointed out a couple of those guys who you mentioned, like Welcome, he's averaging the good points. Just all those elite players, and it's gonna be a lot of good basketball. We still got one more decision onto this pedestal, because where the votes gonna come down to, and who we all feel is gonna win the Final Four. So I believe both of us, we going for the University of Florida Gators. So that leaves you.
I'm a bandwagon on that one, and I'm gonna go for them too. I'm gonna go for them also.
It's all right, man, because the numbers never lie, and I always tell the truth. At the end of the day, those guys, they held the number 1 spot. But moving on to the next sports corners topic, we're getting ready to move around to the National Football League, and there's a lot of new trades, contracts, all the releases, all the blase and this, that, and the third going around the league. Take us into our next segment on what's around the horn going on onto the field.
The Denver Broncos kept their free agency focus on defense as they agreed to a $3 million deal with pass rusher DeMarcus Ware. Ware didn't fully intend to agree to a deal right away with Denver when he flew into town Wednesday morning, but was quickly persuaded by Broncos boss John Elway. The Hall of Fame quarterback turned executive stress to where the Broncos' commitment to defense, even with a prolific offense led by Peyton Manning. Elway's words were backed up, by his actions reaching lucrative agreements with defensive back T.J. Ward and Aqib Talib to open free agency on Tuesday. Do you guys think the Broncos improved their defense enough to win a Super Bowl next year?
Well, most definitely, that's a lot of information that you cover. That the steps that they take with these guys and the names that stand out because DeMarcus Ware, he's been named to 7 Pro Bowls. He has 117 career sacks, and he has been one of the league's best pass rushers, and definitely, and arguably since his rookie season as a Dallas Cowboy in 2005. He also missed 3 of the 9 games this NFL season. He had 3 seasons with at least 15 sacks and 7 seasons with at least 11 sacks. So he's been a team captain and also been a leader. And in short, where he's durable, he's reliable, he's extremely productive over the extended period. And talent-wise being, the player on the Dallas defense that's opposing the offenses, he led most of one of the stops, and pretty much he's everything that the Broncos of the rookie they picked up, who was Von Miller, to be selected with him, and for them to be together, it's going to open up a lot of opportunities for for that defense. Who do you like? Why do you feel like DeMarcus Ware he'll be like? He'll be a good into going into the Denver Broncos defense.
Well, we all know Denver Broncos, they have a good offense. They went a long way last season, but with their defense, with DeMarcus Ware on the defense, I feel that they will go far again. But I feel that with DeMarcus Ware, they'll have a good chance with their D-line and their pressure to the quarterback, which out of any team, whether the quarterback is good or not.
Right. And just speaking on, besides the defensive side of the ball, I wanted to throw this name out because, he was been up on the franchise. He actually helped take his team, your hometown, the Carolina Panthers. They came up short behind Tom Brady. But what's been the allegations over there with Steve Smith onto his trades?
Well, Steve Smith is a great competitor, which he was released by which have been with the team for 13 years, but getting a new receiver for Cam Newton to throw maybe the goal with the Panthers, where they're trying to accomplish. Steve Smith is going to find another home, no doubt about it, which Baltimore showed interest with in Steve Smith's talents, which would be a good spot. And also with the Seahawks, I see a future there also. While Steve Smith stated, I am no longer a number 1 wide receiver, and I know that, and I've been knowing that, and I don't have a problem with that, and I will adjust to whatever team and whatever role that I will have. The only thing is he would like to know what the role is and what the expectations is so he can exceed it. I feel Cam Newton time, which he's going to become the next leader and a game winner for the team. And when you think of the Panthers, you are going to think of Cam Newton because he shows he is reliable and can lead a team to a Super Bowl, which is with the right format. With one of the best defensive groups in the league, I feel they have a chance. The Jets, they signed wide receiver Eric Decker. He caught 87 passes for 1,288 yards and 11 touchdowns last season. Decker was considered the top free agent wide receiver in the market, and general manager John Ezek bounced on him on the second day of the new league year, signing the former Broncos to a 5-year, $36.25 million contract. While some believe how would he be able to, how could he adapt without not having a Peyton Manning throwing for him? So how do y'all feel about him not having a top quarterback, throw for him? So how would you think at any other team he would be?
Well, I feel like it's always just for it's hard for receiving, because I feel like in today's in today's game, you know, the game has got more faster, it's got more stronger, more wiser. You know, cornerbacks are getting smarter. Defensive coordinators, you got some of the top defensive coordinators out there. So, you know, on the defensive side, they're kind of like starting to catch up on these things. So it's kind of hard, to build that long relationship. You know, always having the quarterback. But you know, Steve Smith, he's a good athlete. You know, he's one of the smartest in the game, he's one of the brightest. I feel like as if he could just, you know, always adapt to his game and, you know, just go out there and to perform on any given Sunday and just to perform, you know, just try to make things happen. You know, personally, like, how do you feel as if Chastity, if, you know, when the receiver is being taken away from a good premier quarterback who's helped lead the way, like, for his team?
I mean, it's no point because you need your receiver either way it go. So
Yeah, you need top receivers.
you need it. So
I feel he'll find a home. You know, he'll find a place.
Well, we're just gonna hopefully, you know, he just finds that home. You know, like I say, Steve Smith, he's a good athlete, man. You know, we had a good time watching you at Carolina Panthers. But, you know, speaking of homes, also another big premier player back onto the defensive side of the ball, you know, he's been traded, and it's just still a lot of allegations on going into the inside as a Jet, or him leaving from over the Buccaneers and just trying to fall up under the defensive side of the ball, which is the main premier cornerback, Darrelle Revis. And what do we have on him?
well, do y'all believe that Revis will still improve as the best corner in the game now being under a Bill Belichick defense? Will the team be able to utilize him in his full potential?
Well, there's always that little debate from like anyone in football, you know, about cyberspace when it comes to Revis, because Revis is that better player. And like when I say he's that better player, like he's really like arguably like between the names of the Shermans and the Antonio Cromarties, all those good guys, you know, who we see come up under as good cornerbacks. And you know, Revis, he could cover anyone he's been assigned to, from shift receivers like Wes Welker to big vertical receivers such as Vince Jackson himself. You know, Revis, his skill set was just very misused in the zone corner last year with the Buccaneers. And, you know, sorry that he has to come so short up under the system that he was, because they're bringing over a very good, you know, even though he's the head coach, but Lovie Smith, he's about to come in, you know, just change that whole program around. So the Buccaneers, they've known, like, in the long run to have a good, strong defense, you know, as well with the Hall of Famers that's going in as the Warren Sapps, the Darren Brooks, the John Lynches, and notably Rondé Barber. So it's kind of shorthanded. It's kind of shorthanded right now, you know, that he has to leave. But to me personally, I feel like he's arguably is still one of the best cornerbacks, and that he'll be able to adjust up under the Bill Belichick system. You know, it's some of the best names of the Harrisons, the Teddy Bruschi's. A lot of those guys they've came out of up under Bill Belichick, and I feel as, you know, that he's an elite man, that he'll play a good role in any type of coverage. And just, you know, how what do you feel as if, you know, with Darrelle Revis?
Darrelle Revis, well, you know, Darrelle Revis, he is a tremendous player. As we know, after one season with the Bucs, he had 50 tackles, 11 pass defended, and 2 interceptions. And you know, he's a young player, he's 28 years old, and he got 21 career interceptions. So who wouldn't want him? And I see that the New England Patriots, the Atlanta Falcons, Philadelphia Eagles, and New York Jets also wanted him. And also him coming from New York Jets, I heard that he still have a good relationship with head coach Rex Ryan, which he have a good chance of going back there. So he have a good chance of finding another spot. And the New York Jets, they do have $42 million cap space, so that might be a move back.
You know, let's look. Plenty enough cap space. You know, like when you're talking, you know, especially coming up on the Darrelle Revis. But you mentioned that, you know, that he still has that good relationship with Rex Ryan. You know, Rex Ryan, him and his brother Rob Ryan, they share that good title up under their names as having, you know, being good defensive coaches. So, you know, what I want to personally ask you guys, you know, because we hear about the big name cornerbacks such as the talk of Richard Sherman and Darrelle Revis. So, do you feel as if, you know, a more experienced Darrelle Revis, who is healthy besides all the ACL injuries, can he be Can he still hold his title as being the best cornerback besides the new upcoming Richard Sherman, who's the reigning champion right now up under the Legion of Boom team right now.
I'll go with Sherman. I like his demeanor and his whole attitude when it comes to the game.
You feel like his mentality just plays a lot like into his game, and like
he's
besides him outside the media attention, like he really just shows for like what he says, like brings it to the media and like in front of us, and he can just perform on the field because that's the 6'2". Like I'm pretty sure you know something about this on the defensive side of the ball, of having that 6'2" figure looking down on a go-to-tape receiver who we had posted up on the screen earlier, looking down on these type of receivers. Not taking anything away from go-to-tape because they're on the same team, but I'm pretty sure these guys, they have these one-on-one competitions inside of practice. But I have to agree with you as well and say that Richard Sherman, I feel like just his physical ability just gives him the overlook over Darrell Reeves, just because 6'2", that's just a new thing into our corners. But we covered a lot onto Darrell Reeves, but we want to move over to a little from the field and move to what our last discussion on Sports Corners of from the field to the boxing ring, and tuning in from early before Showtime can get into it. We wanted to ask you guys, and we came up with some own questions for ourselves, which Chastity's going to help us cover onto the two of the big names that we guys hear all the time. You see these guys in a lot of your videos now. They do a lot of side work, the promotions. But these guys are still the two top names. But, one of them came short one day, and that was Adrian Bronner. So, take us more into the boxing ring of Adrian Bronner.
Okay, Adrian Bronner got knocked down twice, badly.
Woo!
Badly. But he roughed up and lost his welterweight title to Marcos Medina by clear unanimous decision on December the 14th. But he wants to try his luck with the Argentina struggle against Bronner exercise and his contra right to a rematch on Saturday, April the 19th. Guys, do you believe Adrian Bronner will bounce back?
Well, first of all, did you guys see the fight? Anyone see the fight?
I didn't see the fight.
Oh man, anytime Adrian Bronner, that guy there, just besides him in the ring, he does catch the eye of the attention of other people, of him, like the way he promotes himself as a boxer. But getting down to the bottom line, he did take an L. But actually, I seen the fight. It was a very good fight. It came down to the unanimous decision. But Medina, he was just stronger. Him being that protege and just having that sacred nature of Floyd Mayweather. Not saying that there's any wrong with it, because it has got him the wins and the welterweight champion title belts that he has. But do you feel like that kind of style doesn't because he seemed like he's a little more bulkier, where Floyd has a little more length and has that more reach, where he could just use a shoulder roll and just use those type of tacticals, to overcome his defenders. So do you feel like Adrian Bronner, is he gonna be able to bounce back from the ring? Because I feel like he'll be able to adjust. Any smart fighter who's really dedicated, they'll be able to adjust. So what you think? So.
Well, Adrian Bronner, he's 5'7", 147. He began working last week for the return of the card. He the undercard of Mayweather versus Medina, which he responded. He doesn't care who he fights. Adrian Bronner, he fight Molino, which has an undefeated. He was undefeated until December 2012, and he hasn't fought since, losing to Amar, which over a year ago. Mayweather is Bronner. So. Bronner kind of, with the ability, I feel that Bronner, he'll have a good chance. But Mayweather, we all know Mayweather, he has that skill of fighting, which it is hard to hit him, and he moves a lot, then he's real quick, he'll hit you. So, that'll be a good fight, but we would never.
So come April 19th, when Adrian Bronner, when he able to step back into the ring, I just suspect, I hope we all expect, to see him more focused, into, what I hear Floyd say a lot is just you always want to critique your craft and dedicate what you do. As far, you play, very little play, what they say, ball hard, play later, or however the saying goes. But, I think he came a little bit too much in as Floyd. As we see Floyd, he's actually at 37 right now. And, he seemed like he's just more mentally focused into, into boxing, as in, possibly going for the Rocky Marciano record. But we're gonna get into more. We're gonna get into more Floyd right now. But I believe it's a question that you had that you want to leave us off with. Leaving us with Floyd Mayweather.
Will Floyd continue his undefeated role facing the opponents who took out his top boxer, Adrian Broner?
Well, that was Mandania. He went in the ring, did what he had to do. Now, I guess Big Brother got to take care of him. You feel like you think Big Brother gonna get it done, or is?
Well, if Big Brother don't get it done, it's gonna be a big talk about the brothers. Brothers getting beat. Well, but I feel he have a good chance, more than his brother, even though his brother lost. But I feel he have a good chance.
They're not really brothers, but proteges.
But they style of boxing may not work against, Mayweather. So we'll see.
What's your insight on it? You think you're a Mayweather fan?
I'm a Mayweather fan.
TMT all day. TMT, you heard her. So we feel as if I feel like Mayweather, he's gonna continue on this. I believe he has three more scheduled fights with Showtime. He has to go against the guy who defeated Adrian Broner. I don't think we're ever going to see him come face to face with Manny Pacquiao. Just we get, maybe we have to get Don King back or whoever's promoting the Golden Boy fights, or Oscar De La Hoya. We got to get somebody, just to, probably just to get that fight going. Just we could just to see that good box. Cause I'm actually kind of there goes that left foot that was killing him all day.
Well,
and he was just right here.
Everybody was looking to crown Adrian Broner the next Floyd Mayweather.
Took a tough loss like that, but speaking on the Adrian Broner, I feel as if he could just bounce back. They go Money Mayweather as always in the gym, money team. But where I think where it really stands is that you have to also look at the way Floyd prepares himself, into the corner. He has his father, he has Roger, he has Floyd Senior. Those are some of the best trainers out there in the boxing world. And they've helped many of fighters to champions. And we just gonna see what it's come down to with Floyd having Roger inside his corner, and Mandela, he has just as a great trainer as well, and he's obviously holding it down right now. We'll have to see come May 3rd, Mayweather versus Mandela. I feel like everybody up here we vote for Mayweather.
Yeah, Mayweather. Well, what about Pacquiao? You feel that he ever gonna fight Pacquiao?
I don't know that.
You think he's scared, or?
You never.
You think he's smart about it, that he know he's going to lose?
Really, the way things go, within the whole boxing promotion, I don't want to say anybody who's 44-0 is scared. So at this point blank period,
no, I'm just saying. I know he don't want to lose his little rep of becoming 40-something and one.
He's not.
You understand? So I feel that. I don't feel this way, but I just want to know do y'all feel that by him not fighting Pacquiao, that's his right move, but not losing.
Kind of like.
Even though they say he had the little, the little steroids, little things. So
we just gonna hope and pray that we can find that before Floyd's last 3 fights that it may be Pacquiao. But we did promise our viewers something on Sports Corner's top 10 most amazing plays, and I think we're gonna roll into it right now. Coming in at number 10, who do we have? Coming in at number 10, we have Josh McRoberts from the Charlotte Bobcats. We want to replay that one more time as he just came right through the lane and just posterized over Paul Gasol. Just looking at, watch as he takes flight. And they say white man can't jump. Who do we have coming in at number 9? At number 9, we have Gerald Green with the breakaway off the steal. Did he jump from the free throw line? No, but that was a beautiful windmill that he went up into. Just look at the replay again. Looks back, full windmill. Coming in at number 8.
We had Derek Williams. He lobs over the head of Blake Griffin. tremendous dunk. Blake couldn't, you know, Blake a high jumper, but he couldn't get high enough on this one.
Would you posterize that?
Who's the veteran voice now that Andre
Okay,
Miller
and number
has been
7 we
traded
have
for?
Kenneth Ferry, the putback. Kenneth Reed, you know, on the putback.
Comes up with a very aggressive offensive
You know,
play.
And that's the energy if you're Brian Shaw.
Just
you're
look at
looking
that.
for.
Just look at that
You know, the
posterize.
putbacks, the
Posterize
hustle
coming in
plays,
at number
diving
6.
on the
he
floor.
always a
Off the glass,
little
he
wild
didn't even see
dunker.
it.
You know, he
Yeah.
always a wild
Oh,
dunker when he
difficult
dunk.
shot
beast,
here.
man. I love to see
He'll
him
be
play.
he'll make you
Boy,
mad
the
dunking
finish
on
by
him.
I love to
Reed.
see him play.
This is how you can get your team motivated.
Beautiful. But at number 5, we have Paul Massaut from the Atlanta Hawks over Gerald Sullinger. Ugh, straight facial. Excuse me, that was our number 6 play of Xavier Henry from the LA Lakers posterizing whoever that was, but he should have never just been up under there point blank.
He was trying to take a charge, I guess.
Into our number 5 countdown, we have Paul Massaut from the Atlanta Hawks. Just goes straight over Gerald Sullinger. Nasty. Baseline. Up, invert. Take some of that, Gerald Sullinger.
Oh my goodness.
Just for another replay for the Twitter followers. And at number 4, we have the Evan Turner. Just at the end of the game with two seconds left, he just decides to do it. Just very controversial 360 dunk at the end of the game. I believe they kind of took that personal in LA.
Yeah, I wouldn't apologize.
And at number 3, we have Paul George with the famous 360 windmill. And since we have, you know, our number 1 fan on the set with us, we're gonna let her introduce our number 2 play.
Which should have been number 1.
Johnson missed the 3. Percentage down
You
to
got
second.
LeBron James. Look at it. With the amazing putback.
He did it with the left hand too.
Let's watch it again.
Yeah, I thought he was going too fast. I thought he wasn't going to get it. But that's LeBron James.
Had to come back with the left
From
hand.
Wade to LeBron, Christmas Day,
Off the
Merry
backboard.
Christmas, and a Happy New Year's from the left hand of LeBron James. Hang time.
Wow.
Got a lot of unexpected things coming forward here.
And
But at
as
number
we
1,
know,
who we got number 1? Let me guess.
Play.
Blake Griffin.
With the ridiculous 2 back-to-back.
It wouldn't been a dunk contest without Blake Griffin.
That's just amazing.
I mean, that's like a dunk contest dunk. That's a choreographed play. They make it look like it's practice time.
Okay, it's another one with Blake Griffin. I have to give him 2.
Did you see the pass from Jamal Crawford, or was that CP3? Chris Paul that was off the assist. But you know, those guys, they just have tremendous chemistry. You know, on to just get just, you know, the way they just assist the ball and just being able to just do all those amazing dunks and just what Blake Griffin does. But that was just our top 10 of our amazing plays on Sports Corners. You know, we covered a lot today from the National Basketball Association. A lot of trades and stuff going on into the NFL, NCAA men's basketball with March Madness. We have more coming from that this next week, and we covered, you know, a couple fights coming up. Adrian Broner, we're expecting to get him back in the ring. You know, he took 1 L, and Floyd Mayweather. You know, we're gonna see what he do and see if he can continue on to his undefeated role as the welterweight champion of the world. And you know, thanks for tuning in with us. I'm your host, Curtis Killings, and here I have with me
Chastity Brigman.
And Andre Miller.
We'll see you next week.
See you next time.
Like you guys had that line. That was nice.